Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be doing a piece inspired by Scrapwitch Lisa and working on a canvas page in my Dina Wakley journal. So I'm just starting off on the canvas page and spreading out a really thin layer of gesso. I'm using a little credit cardy thing to help spread it out so it's really thin. Now for those people who haven't used canvas pages before, be aware that they do shrink. A lot of people get really sort of antsy about the fact that they shrink. I don't mind it. I like that I've got different size pages in my journals, but just be aware that it's not going to stay the same size as the other page. The other thing you need to be aware about is it takes a lot longer for things to dry. So you'll see I've actually left that for a while, which I don't do very often. I usually sort of work on them straight away, but because it is going into a type of material, or fabric, sorry, it does stay damp for a little bit longer. So just be aware of that if you're doing some things. You need to make sure, if you want to have it completely dry, that you need to leave it longer than you usually would. Or if you're heating it with your heat gun, it's going to take longer. If you want to do wet and wet stuff, it's perfect because it stays wetter longer. But if you want to do techniques like ghosting, for example, on it, you're going to need to let it dry. So I'm just going in with some collage tissues now and overlaying them. These are the Dina Wakley collage tissues, and just gluing them down the page. I was going to add some colours in, and then I decided that I wouldn't. I wasn't very decisive. Now I'm just going in with some different colours of Dina Wakley media. So this is the magenta. I don't know what happened to the light there. And now I'm going in and ghosting and rubbing the ink away. Now this is one of the reasons that you do gesso your page first, because once it's gessoed and sealed and dried, everything else on top of it, because it is, that canvas is now sealed, will dry at the normal rate. So you don't have to wait as long as you would if you not sealed the canvas. So again, I'm going in with this beautiful stencil and rubbing off my excess paint just to get some texture in the background. Now this page is directly inspired by Scrapwitch Lisa. In the Lifebook Summary 2019, she taught a class, I think Eyes and Windows to the Soul, and did an amazing job. And I love her work, so please check her out on Instagram and on YouTube. Her work is amazing and so brightly coloured, and she uses white space, which I am so in awe of. I was trying, this is a few weeks after I'd seen her lesson on the Lifebook Summary, so I was kind of, I wasn't watching it, I was trying to sort of remember what I'd done in the past, and I probably need to go back and watch it again because I didn't leave my white space. I didn't follow some of the rules, but I liked what it turned out with in the end. One of the issues I have with this page, I really like how it ended up, but it was kind of fighting, it's kind of fighting the horizontals and the verticals. So I have the verticals, sorry, in the background, and then I've got horizontals going in the foreground, and it's just kind of fighting too much against each other for me. It kind of calms down when I do this technique, which is what Lisa talks about, is going back in with your white paint and sort of painting it in, and that helped to ground those images of the eyes too, to the page. And it also makes, I suppose, those vertical lines a little bit stronger, so it blocks out the background somewhat, but then it kind of blocks out everything I had in the background because I was just fighting against it a little bit at this stage. So it's funny how things happen, I suppose. So I'm going back in with the same stencil and doing some ghosting to bring back the background and to sort of blend it in a little bit. And now I'm using some yellow. Now I don't use yellow very often in my work, she says when she's got yellow on the other page, but it really isn't a colour I use very often. But I did actually on this page finish my bottle, and you can see I wasn't getting any out, so I cut into it, and there is a heap of paint in there. So when you cannot get any paint out of your tubes anymore, I highly recommend you cut into them, because you will find so much more paint hidden in those bottles, and I don't know if I do it on screen or not, but I managed to paint 2 large pages in my Dilutions journal, I think, with the yellow paint was in there, and it was solid yellow colour, so it wasn't just scraped onto the page, it was solid yellow, and I managed to put it onto a whole heap of other pages as well. So please, if you get to the end of a paint bottle, cut into it and see what you've got there. While I've been talking, I've been using my stamps just to add in some extra detail into the background and some extra texture. So I've used them off the block, so they're a little bit patchy. I deliberately wanted that, and now I'm going in with some white and some of that yellow again, sort of to add into the background. And you can see at the top corner, left-hand corner, I started to go vertical again, and it didn't look right, so I had to go back, and that's why I've sort of used the stencil to rub it back again, and it looks a little bit more natural now. So just be aware if something's not working on your page, see if you're working against yourself, see if you've done some stuff in your background in one direction and now you're going in a different direction, because that might be what's sort of unsettling to your eye. Our eye is very good at picking up what's wrong in a page, not necessarily explaining why, but it knows the pattern. Our eye naturally looks for patterns, so if the pattern doesn't look right, it will really bug us, and that's what was happening for me on this page. It just wasn't sitting naturally for me. I'm now going in with Stabilo All Pencil just to darken up the eyes and put some detail back in again. By the end of this page, I realised that I'd sort of completely obliterated those eyes that I'd stuck down in the background by actually colouring over them myself. I've put the white paint pen on, now I'm putting the colours on. I suppose just because I could. If you really struggle with doing eyes, however, you don't need to do all this stuff to it. You could just leave them as is and it probably look much better than what I've done, but I got carried away, so I kept drawing and adding to my eyes. It helped the fact that I'd done this after I'd done a class with Tracy Scott, who was teaching how to draw faces, and the bit that I really took away from it was how to sort of make eyes look a little bit more realistic. So using colour pencils, using shading and doing the catch lights and so on. So I've been practicing on everything. So anything I can put eyes on, I've been putting eyes on. If you just want to leave the magazine images, that would probably be a great idea too. So I finished this. I really liked it, but it needed something to tie it all together. And I found this quote in my Art from Marlene sticker book, which was, "I wish my eyes could take photos." And there are some days that I really wish that was true. So I thought it tied in really, really nicely, particularly since it was sort of the plural of the eyes, and I have lots on this page. So I wish my eyes could take photos. I would suggest if you are using these stickers from Art by Marlene, they're fantastic, but they probably need a little bit of extra adhesive. I think I went back afterwards and put some gel medium over the top, because they're quite thin paper, and particularly on the canvas or on textured pages they struggle to stick down a little bit. Thank you to Lisa for the inspiration for this page. Please check out her YouTube channel and her Instagram page. She does amazing work, and until next time, bye for now.